What's up, you guys? This is Pac-Man Jake on Trade Deadline Tuesday. The time to make the move, the deadline came and went, and the Packers made no move. The big talk was that it was going to be Will Fuller, and there was definitely talks between the two sides. Unfortunately, the Packers were not able to come to an agreement in order to go and grab Deshaun Watson's number one weapon in Will Fuller. Honestly, you guys, I'm disappointed, but I don't feel like this is very devastating to the Packers whatsoever. Allen is set to return soon. He's a good number two. Now, would have the combination of Devontae, Will, and Allen have been a very good trio together to catch passes for Aaron? You bet. That's exactly why I would have loved to have seen Will or another receiver, even Kenny Stills for that matter, possibly come to Green Bay. But apparently there was no interest in Stills or any other type of receiver that was available for trade. We don't know who entirely sure was available for trade. We can speculate on some guys who were available, like there was speculation of Golden Tate and AJ Green. John Ross, who has had some dissatisfaction with the Bengals, was probably on the trade block. The Packers didn't really look into that, probably for a good reason, as John Ross hasn't really been able to get much of anything going at all with the Cincinnati Bengals. So far, what he has been able to do is maybe catch a few passes here and there. We know that he's a fast, speedy weapon with a 4.22 speed. Otherwise, he's dealt with a whole bunch of injuries, and that has probably hampered his progress and why things have not gone so well for Ross in Cincinnati. A change of scenery would be good for Ross, and I wouldn't have been against John Ross coming to Green Bay. But the rawness and the injuries was a little bit of a question mark. But taking on a receiver in a trade would only be an 8 to 9, possibly a 10-game rental. And that is probably why the deal fell through, was the fact that the Packers were only going to have this receiver for only that amount of time. Now, the whole deal with the whole reason why the Will Fuller trade didn't go through was the fact that the Texans wanted a second-round pick for Will. That was apparently just too rich for the Packers, as a second-round pick is a really good value for Will, but the way I see it, I think that in the second round of next year's draft, I think the Packers have their eye on a wide receiver, and I am supremely confident in the Packers taking a receiver in the second round in next year's draft. I have to feel like that's the direction that they're going to go. I mean, the Packers were very close to selecting a receiver, trading up to select a receiver in the second round, but there were just no takes, and that is why things went the way they did. Instead, we kind of settled for A.J. Dillon, who was kind of like the plan B at the bottom of the second. Anyway, that's all it is. All there is to it. It sounds like the only options that the Packers were reportedly going for were a pass catcher for Aaron Rodgers, whether it was either a wide receiver or a tight end. There was interest in Zach Ertz before he went to injured reserve, and there was some interest in David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns. It appears that none of those guys are on, or it appears that David Njoku is not going anywhere. He will be staying in Cleveland. And I think it was probably a good non-move to not go and grab Njoku, as he has dealt with inconsistencies, and he will be in a tight end group that is very, very crowded. I just don't think that Njoku was really all that much of the answer for anything for the Packers, really. And as far as addressing the defense, there was no reports of there being any interest in acquiring anyone there. I think that's a little disappointing, to be honest, that I have been pretty vocal about acquiring an interior defensive lineman. My last video, I addressed possibly acquiring Dalvin Tomlinson from the New York Giants. It appears that he was never really in serious discussions, really, for even getting moved to any team, let alone the Green Bay Packers. The Giants have probably expressed no interest in trading Dalvin, and I don't blame them. As for the Packers defense, I don't even know even if acquiring a defensive player would have made that much of a huge difference to the fact that we still can't stop the run as a whole. I know that Dalvin would have been able to help it because he does have that run stuffing forte that a lot of our players don't. I mean, he is far and away better at stopping the run than Dean Lowry. He's better than Kingsley Keke in his second year. He's better than Montrevious Adams probably right now, and he's better than limited upside backup nose tackle Tyler Lancaster. So that's why I'm a little bit disappointed that there was not really much of a push to even try to attempt. Maybe there was. I don't know. There was just no reports, but I get the feeling that the Packers were not interested in trying to upgrade the defensive line. And that's all I have to really say on that, is that it's disappointing that the Packers didn't really come away with a pass catcher or a defensive player. But I think we just have to just let all this play out, trust the process, as silly as that sounds. But the way I see it, you guys, we're fine. We're 5-2. We're in the division lead right now. So, I mean, things look bleak, but just hold on. Let's just let it play out. This is a good football team. Regardless of not getting Will or any other type of receiver, I think this offense can do some things. But up until when Allen returns, I think that we are probably not going to be as good as we could be. But once Allen returns, I am absolutely positive that we can get back on track to where our offense once was at the beginning of the season. Allen, Devontae, those guys are going to be our reliable targets at this point. We have to wait on Equanimeous St. Brown. I know he's looking just about any bit about as raw as Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and going forward, Marquez is going to be an explosive, inconsistent deep threat that may only make a few catches here and there on a consistent basis. As where EQ is going to be, he's dealing with another injury. I mean, it's always going to be a learning curve, and it's just going to take time for EQ to get up to speed and gain Aaron's trust. So, yeah, it wasn't easy, but, it is what it is. We got to prepare for the San Francisco 49ers on Thursday Night Football, and we got to do what we can do to be able to at least be competitive, and maybe if we can come up with a victory in San Francisco, that would be great. That would put us back up on the winning track, and we can be 6-2, and that would be a very good record to come back with, getting a little bit of a mini bye, and then rest up, get healthy, and then take on Jacksonville back at Lambeau. And that is how it goes down. I mean, I'm not at all surprised we didn't get anybody in a trade because of cap reasons. It's not like we have all this money to spend, and I know that Will's contract was $10 million, and that would have been pretty tough for the Packers to be able to handle his $10 million for just a short amount of time. And that's all I have to say. It just really wasn't. I guess just giving up a second round pick just to have Will for only half a season at the end of it just wasn't worth it. And I guess time will tell to see if the move that we didn't make was right, or if it was a mistake. it will all be kind of dependent on what happens, and what things go through the duration of the rest of the regular season into the playoffs. And the bright spot is that this offense, it can score points. And we don't lose games because we don't have receivers. We mostly lose games because we can't stop the run, and that has been the team's problem. It has been on the defensive side of the ball. We give up 26 points per game, and that has been a really big problem for this team. And I don't think that that was even going to change at all, even if we had acquired a wide receiver, or even if we had acquired a defensive player. I know that a defensive player would have been able to help in the short term and maybe help stop the run a little bit better, but I don't know. You guys' guess is about as good as mine. And the other piece of news is that with AJ Dillon being out with COVID, our very first player to get a positive test, I thought that maybe this was hopefully some type of false positive. It turns out that it is not, and we won't have AJ to go up against the 49ers, and we also won't have Jamal Williams, our second running back. He didn't test positive, but he is out due to the protocol, as because he was in close proximity to AJ. So we're going to be down without our second and third running backs, and very possible that we may not even have Aaron Jones either, our starting running back. But he is a game time decision according to Matt LaFleur. So hopefully Aaron is going to be healthy enough to go. That nagging calf injury, it appears to be still a little bit of a problem, but hopefully with maybe some time and maybe some rest, hopefully he can go, and so we can get some type of running game to go against the 49ers. If he can't go, it will probably be Tyler Ervin that will be getting the bulk of the carries, and there will probably be a possibility of Dexter Williams getting activated from practice squad to help Ervin with the load of the running back carries. And this will be kind of a good test to see how deep we are at running back. I knew that going into the season we were very deep. We do have two really good solid running backs in Jones and Williams, and then you have AJ Dillon, our promising second round rookie, that will be a contributor for next season, no doubt, going into his second year. Then we have our fan favorite Swervin Irvin. He definitely provides some of the explosion and big playmaking ability similar to what Jones has. And I think he's actually a really, really good pass catcher. He's been used on the jet sweep in this offense. He's been a really, really, really a good piece to this offense. Vitally important. Without Swerve, the offense kind of really struggles to be able to use all those misdirection plays and be able to get some of our receivers schemed open. Just by having Swerve in there really, really makes things a little bit easier for Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers to operate with the offense, as well as our running backs getting big carries for big gains. Going forward into Thursday night's big primetime game against essentially another rival, really. A rivalry renewed, really, with the San Francisco 49ers. A thorn in our side, if you will. And they certainly have been a thorn in our side pretty much since when Colin Kaepernick was the quarterback. And the 49ers have been so hard to beat since then. This will be great to be able to go into San Francisco on Thursday with a win here. It will not be easy, as the 49ers have the pieces in place. They have the defense, they have the running backs, even though some of them are banged up. Most hurt in particular is banged up. They did lose another young promising running back, Jeff Wilson, to injury, but they did get Tevin Coleman back in return. So who knows where things are going to lie there, but I certainly do not think that the Packers' run defense is going to be all that effective. But like I said in my last video, that my expectations into this game are quite low. But I am at least hoping that the effort, the energy, and the drive will be there to go into San Francisco and put up a fight. That's what I expect from this team, is to go on there, do your best, fight hard, and if you die, you will die trying. Simple as that. All gas, no break. And that is what it boils down to. Yes, the what didn't happen today or yesterday, whatever day you're watching this, if you're watching this on Wednesday, yes, we didn't acquire anybody in a trade. I mean, in-season trades they're very spotty. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. It all really goes down to price tags and what you have to give up, and real-world trades are just not as simple as it's not as simple as it looks, really. There are all kinds of factors that you have to waver over to make a decision. It was not easy for the Packers to pass up on the chance to get Will. I mean, at the end of the day, your guess is as good as mine to see if the decision to not bring in Will was the right choice. But the best thing we got to do is put our best foot forward, and then go into San Francisco, beat them, and stay the course as we are the first place in the NFC North. So, regardless of what happened, remember who you root for, you guys. Packer fans, remember who you root for. You root for the 5-2 Green Bay Packers, the NFC North Division champs. You do not cheer for the lowly New York Jets, who are winless right now. We could be worse than this. All the outside noise, the media, the gloom and doom people, they just want to bring you down. Do not let these people bring you down. Do not let this loss to the Minnesota Vikings bring you down. This time, there's no playing around. Next time we go into San Francisco, we bust them in the mouth. We come prepared. We are going to practice hard. Even if we're going to be shorthanded again, there's a pretty good possibility we may have some of our guys not return. David Bakhtiari, Kevin King, they are still pretty banged up, but hopefully we can have maybe a few guys return with the long injury list that we have, and maybe we can come away with a victory against a banged up 49er team as well. And I know all this went long, but this is just a little pep talk for you guys to say that we are going to be okay. We are the Green Bay Packers. We are fans of the greatest football team in all of freaking existence. And with all that said, let's carry the G and go Pack Go.